is up, guys? Yes! HMU, what is up, guys? Today, we have an absolute legend. I'm talking about somebody that not only puts herself out there, but like, I'm talking about speaks for an entire demographic of people that are just, I want to say, shy of putting themselves out. This is the queen of cannabis. We have Molly Rose.
Yes.
Molly.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited to be here. Hey, everybody.
Yay. Thank you so much for being on here, Molly.
Thank you for having me. I am so excited to meet your group and share the knowledge. I'm stoked.
Yay. All right, so we have some questions today. No pressure. Basically, what I want to know, the overall arching question today is, I want to know, how are you so passionate? This is an industry that a lot of people are nervous about. That a lot of people don't want to say that I own the cannabis industry. How do you put a title that you accept that is the queen of cannabis? How do you put yourself out like that? Like that is amazing.
Thank you. You know what's crazy to me is when I look back and try to remember a time that I wasn't. So let's dive into that a little bit and I'll share with you the history. I kind of got that nickname brought to me by clients, by peers in the industry, and by people by working in this industry and being a pillar. And what's crazy for me is I grew up around the cannabis industry. I'm very blessed and very fortunate to have grown up in a family that put a heavy, hard understanding on holistic medications, on herbs, on life, and the understanding of the plant on the recreational and medical side of things. But when I really got thrown into understanding holistic medicine, understanding cannabis, and my passion was when my mom was diagnosed with a very rare form of breast cancer. And long story short, we went through almost 15 years of seeing different specialists, being smarter or more educated than the doctors on not only the cancer, but the different side effects and symptoms, and really taking on big pharma. And I got to a point in this industry where I realized how many holes we had in our system. And then it became, how could I not be the face of this movement, or one of? I'm so blessed to even be called part of this movement. Yeah. I'm so humbled by it. But how could you not put on your armor every day and go to war for this?
Yeah, that's so cool. Oh, wow. How could you not? You have such a story. How do you not?
How I exist. It is my being.
Yay. Oh, that's so cool.
And you the same.
Yeah, and so people like you inspire me because it's how bold can I get, right? If I was 10 times bolder, how would I do? And sometimes I'm like, man, I'd probably do I'd go on Facebook Live like Molly does, and sometimes I'd probably do this. I was like, man, I'm sometimes a consumer. And so it inspires me, it's how cool is it that you're that bold and you inspire other people, and so that's really awesome. Really
love
cool.
That. Made my whole day.
Yeah, okay. So now let me ask you this question. How long would you say you've actually all right, I'm officially in the cannabis industry. How long have you been doing this?
It happened like this. It happened in 10 seconds flat. I was at this is one of my favorite stories. This is the second time I'm telling the story on any sort of publication. So this is the exclusive in right here. Woo. I was at a mastermind and a couple people were speaking about cannabis and about how to market cannabis for a potential client. And I was overhearing it and I just had to add in my 2 cents. And it was a combination between speaking live and me behind the keyboard going crazy. And that was the first time I had ever openly spoken about my role in cannabis, advocate, consumer, consultant, marketer, any of those pieces. I had been in the shadows completely trying to work from behind the scenes because that's what I needed to be at that moment in time. And I came out and I said my piece and I shared the knowledge and it was instant snowball. From there, that's kind of where the nickname came. You remember this time period, the tagging on the internet was like this. It took 1 second and one person to hear what I had to say and it spiraled. And I'm so grateful. That was Rachel Peterson. So super grateful for having the right person at the right time to be there and help me come out, so to speak.
Oh, you're coming out of the closet with cannabis.
Yeah, that's how it felt. It was terrifying until it wasn't. And then it was something I was so passionate about that it was, how could you not put this on every day? Because I was already doing it, but then I was doing it out loud.
Yeah, it's like I'm not gay, but I told people I smoke cannabis on public, you know?
Well, I mean, I think that expression could mean so many different things.
Yeah,
100%.
totally. Like like it's something you have to hide because people,
Yeah,
it's
it's
not.
illegal in some places.
Yeah, like you'll go to
It's
jail.
against the law. And that's what kills me is we have something growing out of the ground, and I'm not saying that everyone needs to use it, but everyone should have the right to have access medicinally or otherwise.
Wow. Yeah, absolutely. That's really cool. Okay, so like you said you had that speaking engagement. Now that was when you actually like came out with your cannabis. Like
Yep.
you openly
So
came
that
out
was in
now.
September.
Yeah, so what got you like what actually got you started in the marketing thing? Was it like that event or was it were you
No,
already
I've
marketing?
been doing marketing forever.
Oh, that's so
uh,
cool.
so when I was a teenager, one of my girlfriends and I had a makeup artistry kind of freelance gig that we did. We were good at it, so why not hustle?
Yeah.
So we were doing that, and if you have a freelance gig, you have to market it. The next thing I knew, I was having so much fun on MySpace and Photoshop, creating all sorts of things. Other people needed to fill their calendars, and mine was already booked. So in helping, I realized I was spending more time helping people book out, and I guess would have been affiliate marketing. I didn't know that term back then.
Nice.
Than I was actually doing any sort of makeup artistry. One thing turned to another. I got a job in the marketing field, and I've been doing it since I was 17 in different facets of my life.
Yeah.
And then I went into my own agency. And in doing that, I've always had the business knowledge and the marketing knowledge. So different friends that had strains or dispensaries over the years, I'd come in, I'd consult, I'd throw my knowledge out there. And that's how I became who I am now.
Woo! Oh, that is awesome.
I summed that up really quick. That was like a decade I just took you guys through.
Totally did. It's really awesome. I love that, you know? Okay, so now you said you do consulting. Now, how do you give value in this industry, even in the marketing space? Like, how do you give value with this product? Like, of course, everyone's going to buy it, right? Everyone thinks that like weed sells itself, which I believe it does. However, when I still go to the store, I still pick between the brands that I want, you know? So how do you give value? How do you help these guys, these people that you're serving?
I think most importantly, just like yourself, I'm in it. And I think being in it and being a practitioner, you have to make mistakes over and over again, and being able to be there in advance and say, I've already fought this battle. I know how to get you merchant services. I've already fought this battle. I understand Facebook's marketing system. I can help you curve these things. So that's one of the biggest pieces of value is the experience and the fact that I've been there before. And like my friend Sonia Gomez recently said, we'll stand next to you and we'll take those punches with you because we've had them before. We know how to handle it. No skin off our back.
Yeah.
Being there and being willing to go, because any of you who have tried to market cannabis, it is kind of like going to battle in so many ways because we have a unique set of restrictions and a unique set of rules that we play by.
Yeah.
Aside from that, it's bringing years of more traditional e-com and all sorts of influencer marketing, things like that, and those connections into this space, and all of the digital marketers that I'm in close network with into this space so that we can mesh the two and really bring the most value to clients and anybody.
I really like what you said there. So you kind of said like it's not necessarily like the industry is new, but everybody else is not new. You're just kind of bringing those people together.
Exactly. I mean, e-com is e-com.
Yeah.
And a sales funnel is a sales funnel. The first sales funnel happened in what, 1930? So we're just reinventing the wheel over and over again. Influencers are always going to be influencers. It's just bringing those systems, changing them to fit our unique set of rules. That's really the truth.
Stop. This is all new. You want me to stop right now. This is brand new.
I invented it.
You know, it's so crazy because it's like, even though I've done marketing too, right? Like I also feel like it's new because it's like, here's the thing. It's like, how am I able to literally like what people used to call a drug? How am I able to market it now? Right? Like I go through that mentality of like, all right, like, am I an addict?
Well, I think about it from both sides, and I'm so glad you brought that up. It's so interesting. I say to my other half all the time and friends, 2 years ago, we would have been put in jail for this.
Yeah.
And there are so many people incarcerated for this right now that are slowly being let out. But on the flip side of it, I think back to the time periods with my mom and trying to find those alternative medications. And I think about the families right now who can get their hands on something that's going to change and curve, maybe for some people, 15 years worth of pain and suffering, just like that, because we go to work every day. Wow. And that's what makes me jump out of bed every single morning. And I'm sure you too. I know you too, because I know how much you love this plant.
Yeah.
You are
I haven't even got a star. I haven't even got it. Like, even you think I'm loud now. Watch this.
It's hard not to yell when you have as much passion brewing inside of you as all of us in this industry do.
Oh, it is. It's like, it makes you smile. Like, this plant makes you happy. Like, yesterday was an example. I was kind of clammed up and I wasn't really talking, and then my brother saved the day and brought me over a J, and
yes,
it really, like, then I was like, blah blah blah, talking like crazy.
It'll tell you everything you want to know. And then some.
And then I was like, I totally got this motivation again back in life, and it's like, wow, that really helps. Like, I don't know, like, that's better than Prozac. Like, holy cow, like that's better than a beer. Like,
yeah. That's something interesting. So since I've spent more time really diving into cannabis more so than ever in my life, I don't drink, and I didn't realize it. It just kind of popped up recently. We were chatting, and I was like, I guess I don't drink really anymore. Such a trip.
Oh, that's cool. So yeah, let me ask you: have you decreased any other habits that you started smoking? Like, what age did you start experience cannabis as a consumer? I guess that's a good question.
Oh.
That's actually a question I've never asked anybody ever, because, you know, I've also been like hidden, and even I sometimes hide behind the whole marketing aspect of the business, not even like getting out there and saying the cannabis aspect. So that's where you inspire me, right? So how do you feel in that aspect?
So I think I'm a little bit unique again in that my mom was a cancer patient. So, oops, sorry.
I was like, it might be mine. I got like things going on.
My parents are calling. They know that I'm about to tell a very good story, and they're going to get in pretty good trouble. No, you know, it's crazy. So very unique in having a sick parent and becoming an adult at such a young age, and that advocate and Johnny on the spot. I was able to be involved in things that most people not so much at that age. So I was experiencing it from a medical side as well as just being a teenager. But I started as a consumer, I would say maybe in my 13-ish age.
Whoa. Okay.
And that's when it really affected me. And I realized this isn't just funny. Like, this isn't just something where you get stoned. But if I'm stoned, I've never seen somebody stoned go and thrash a motel room.
Yeah.
With alcohol, there's so many other side effects. Yeah. And so it really got my brain thinking about the different pills that you take associated with cancer and things like that, because that was my world at the time. And like you said, a Prozac, well, if you're doing chemo, you're on Lexapro, Xanax, Ativan, all sorts of things to calm you down as well as keep you stable here. But if you're just nurturing your endocannabinoid system and good nutrition, for some people, it may have the same better effects. Not for everyone, but for many people.
Wow.
I don't want to speak for everyone there, because I am not a physician.
It's just awesome to hear your story, right? We know like the tiptoe issue of this, but I think that like a lot of people are realizing that like maybe there's an alternative. Maybe there's something that, hey, like this can help. It's right now, yes, CBD is fully legal. I'm in Vegas. I think you said you were in Northern California, which is really cool. I used to live there.
Yeah, I'm in the Mecca.
Oh, that's so cool.
I grew up in SoCal, so there was never a stigma in the beach communities, and in LA, I can't say there was never a stigma, but there was not the same stigma as for other people. I went to college at East Tennessee University, and I got a crash course in what the legalities were real quick. So that was a big awakening for me to see prohibition in action, and in many other places. But in California, it's just a little more lax unless you're in the medical industry. And then when it comes to health insurance and things like that, obviously jobs, there's a little bit more of a rule to it.
You know, here's what I love is what you just said is is we now, all of those things, like I used to be in the ammunition industry, right? That was extremely regulated. So when I come over to this industry, it's like all of these rules and those, like, no, those are needed because the industry is being legalized, and therefore you have to have regulation. Otherwise it's the wild, wild west. Right. It's like, we're past those days. It's like, now we have to become like, you have to pay your people health insurance, right? You can't just pay a trimmer and weed anymore, right? Like, that's not the deal. Like, it's
not room and board.
Like, yeah,
not too far from us. You can still do that.
Yeah, yeah, you're right. There's still some places, but like, it's starting to be like they're actually taxing the income that comes out of the checks, right? And it's like, this becomes where it's like, it's a real thing. It's not like the government's not like, they're realizing that there's two faces going on right now, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like, I think they understand that, and they're trying to figure it out just as fast as we are. Like, we're trying to figure it out too, because while we're trying to figure out to market, they're trying to figure out how to legalize it, because it's a win-win for everyone, right? Like, I think even they realize it too now, and so it's just
I think they're 100% behind it now. And that's because of all of the people who are willing to yell.
That's what I'm saying. Like, because people like you are willing to yell, and that's so cool. Like, that is so cool. That is really cool.
This is really like a brotherhood and a sisterhood. It's people who are willing to step out first and say, hey, we want this. And there's so many people ahead of us, and especially in the music industry. You think about the hip hop influence, and even before that, the blues influence that is played. It's beautiful, because in the 30s, we used this plant all the time. And that's when prohibition started. We allowed for alcohol prohibition to come back, but we're not allowing for this cannabis prohibition to come back for a number of reasons that I won't waste anyone's time on right this moment. But it's so beautiful to see this in full swing right now. And being able to curb it, all of us that are doing the marketing and having our own businesses, we're shaping this industry.
Totally. It's so beautiful. Like, and I think, here's what I'm excited for. If this would have been legalized back when alcohol would have been legalized, I would have missed it, right? I wasn't alive. So guess what? Like, I'm so happy that I'm alive today to experience this right now, because guess what? I get to play in this. I get to participate in this. Guess what? Like, think about it, like when computers existed, and it's like, dude, like, this is a little computer, right? Like, we're on a computer right now. We're talking. Now we have them on our phones, right? Like, could you imagine being that guy that invested in Apple and got in it when it got early? Like, dude, it's not even fully legal, and we have the ability to sell it online already.
It's so beautiful. And as this THC movement comes to e-com over the next,
oh my gosh, I just
want
my weed delivered to my door by Amazon robots.
Right. Well, there's weed maps. You guys don't have weed maps in Vegas?
Like, they have delivery charges. I can't wait. Like, I don't know. I like to go and smell the flowers. My mom's on live. I think she's walking in, like,
hi, Mom.
Yeah, so she's not too far from you. That'd be cool to sit here.
Yeah.
She lives in Yuba City and Oliver, like there. But yeah, literally, like, she always said, stop and smell the flowers, and I mean, maybe the delivery driver could bring the flowers and I could smell them, but I like
He brings you flowers.
Yeah, he brings me flowers. It's
my favorite kind of flowers.
Yeah, the favorite kind. Guys like flowers more than girls, I think.
Right. It's so funny. So we're getting married in October, and we're doing a lot of work with this florist. And
is it a cannabis wedding? I think I heard this.
Yes, it is. It is. Within the restrictions and legalities that we have to play by. Yes. But one funny thing is, the florist is talking about what kind of flower, and we all busted up laughing because they don't have my favorite kind of flower. She's like, we could order it. I was like, no, you cannot. But don't worry, I got that covered.
You guys order by the ounce or the pound?
So we went with roses.
Oh, yeah, that's cool.
But we're going to
roll some days out of roses, so maybe try that.
Right? I've seen those rose petal rolls, actually.
Cool.
Got inoculated into that. So funny. I love this. I love the passion that you have, and so much fun.
Okay, so here's another question. You seem to have your audience, like who you're talking to, seems to be very clear every single time I hear you talk. How did you come up with your voice?
This is me. And I really am a pillar of that unapologetic. I should pick a slogan that I could say.
Yeah.
We're going to work on that. But I'm really now one of the biggest advocates of being unapologetically authentic. And the reason is you never have to change who you are. You never have to put that attractive character face on. Sometimes I fall flat on my face, and I am so happy sharing that with my audience. And sometimes we have huge, beautiful victories, and they're there to celebrate with me because I've shared every step of the way with them.
Woo.
However, that being said, it's creating your framework and really finding out who you are and who you want to be and who you want to be to the industry, to your audience, and then being that. You're going to lose followers. You're going to lose a large part of your audience. That's a good thing. It leaves room for new ones, and it lets you be yourself. Like, get it out of the way. It's going to happen. Just, you got to do it.
Yeah. You know, it's so funny. My brother's sitting right next to me, and he literally, here, you want to say hi, bro? So he's listening to us on live at the same time, you know, and I like, here's the thing. He actually handed me the bong as I was on this. And it's so crazy that you said this, because it's like, I could either be me and I could accept that, like, I like doing bong rips while I hang out with people I enjoy hanging out with. Do you know what I mean?
Right. And it's
like,
so cool that we all get to hang out together, and it's our job.
Like, yeah, like, and like, this is monetized. Like, we're gonna make a way to monetize this because we're marketers.
We are living in a time that we couldn't even have fathomed even just a couple years ago, right? When we were in high school, we could never have guessed this is what we were going to be when we grew up. But
totally.
We were doing the framework that led us to this point. It's so beautiful. And this is what we get to do: pour our hearts and our souls into our content and fight for what we're passionate about, while making ourselves and everyone around us monetize and, you know, curbing it the way we want it to be.
That is beautiful. That is beautiful. Okay, so let me ask you another question. Okay, so what was your, like, you talk about failures. What was your first success? Like, no matter how big or small, what would you say was your first success in this industry for you?
In this industry, you know what? You actually will know this one because we were chatting when it happened, so this is fun. The first time I ran a Facebook ad to a funnel, and you guys, the funnel template came straight from him, and I was able to have a pretty decent conversion rate, considering the fact that you couldn't run ads at all, and I ran this ad campaign and the conversion rate came through. It was amazing.
Yes.
So that was my first win in this industry on a public marketing type platform. And then after that, I think the win of, you know, the Farm Bill going through and the floodgates opening.
Wow.
That was so beautiful. Being here in California, we were kind of doing stuff ahead of that because we didn't want it to be federal.
Yeah.
I know.
The joys of being in advance, right? But like, that's how cool is, like, now we have the Farm Bill, so hemp is legal, which is still like building an email list. Okay, so now let me ask you, okay, what are your goals over the next 1 to 2 years?
World domination.
Yes.
Just world domination.
What does world domination look like for you? That's a good question now.
So my goals right now are to continue to build authority and influencership so that I can be even more of a cannabis advocate, be an advocate for all of the business owners who are coming into this industry, especially the ones who really have their heart in the game, not just as the green rush comes to an end, which at some point, I don't see it stopping anytime soon, but when it does, being able to curb this industry, being able to help change legislation to fight those stigmas. So the next, what did you say, 2 to 3 years, 1 to 2 years, is building that influencership and establishing the authority, and then getting out all of those marketing strategies so that we can all join in the same success. Because there's no competition in this industry. It's so new and there's so few people and there's such a big world out there. It's more about just continuing to build that bond.
Yeah. Totally. Okay, now what assets are you building in this industry? Like, if someone was to say, what should I focus on? What assets should they be working on and building?
The most important asset you can build, period, in my opinion, is your network. Your network is your net worth. So it's your friends. It's your people that you're getting in touch with. Maybe that's building an audience. Maybe that's literally building your network. For me, if you guys go to my public Facebook page, I have 300 followers.
Nice.
I joke not. 300. I have never put any sort of marketing there. Those are people that have just come over, you know, at random over the years or whatever over the year. But let me tell you, if you guys have seen my lives, you know how many people are on them, and you know how many people will be there in different groups. So you can always leverage a different audience. If you lose your Facebook or any other page, you can always leverage someone else's audience. You can always leverage groups. There are always going to be marketing strategies. You could spend a lot of money and run a lot of engagement ads and build the page back up, no problem. You can't rebuild lifelong connections. You cannot rebuild the relationship you have with somebody that you can text at 8 p.m. and say, hey, I need help with this funnel strategy. Please, can you jump in Zoom with me? You can't rebuild that.
Totally. Wow.
And no one can take that from you.
Yeah. Like, even if your Facebook gets shut down, you'll figure out a way to talk to them.
Yeah, exactly. You pick up your phone and, you know, you can re-add those people because you don't have to ask them to come follow you. They'll be looking for you. You have a bond with them. So I think first off is building that authority. And of course, if you are building your pages, build your email list, get them out of social media, whether it's a messenger bot, however you're doing it, get it out of social as fast as you can. That's not a sales channel.
That makes sense. Yeah, like build that email list, build that asset, you know, like totally like, okay, so start with an audience, get those people that you're building those relationships, but ultimately get them off of social media into a list so you're not worried just on Facebook.
Right, exactly. And like I said, you can leverage other people's audiences as long as you get your connections somewhere that you can nurture it and build genuine, real relationships. Give value, be honest. And then I would say the next thing, and I'm sure you 100% agree with this, is content. Start your content library. Be the loudest voice in the room. Type till your hands bleed, get on video, and just be a content producer.
Wow. Very good. What's your favorite source of content that you personally like doing?
I like to write. I love to write. If I want to be quick about something or I have a thought and I've got to go, you know, I love live video. Live is great in the Facebook algorithm. It's evergreen. You can repurpose it onto other platforms later. But when I have the time and energy, I really love to just sit down with my keyboard and just go to town and really educate. I think you can get so much deeper when you're typing because you can take the time to do research. Whereas if you're on a video, you're starting and stopping and praying you can remember what the hell you're talking about. If you're me, it's really bad.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. That's really cool. So you say you get deeper when you actually type things out and all that.
I think so, because I think I take more time to kind of Google or check my sources and pull content or charts. And then, you know, when you start to do any sort of research when you're writing, it kind of takes you down second and third rabbit holes. So you might throw 3 blogs together in the time it took you to do one research.
Yeah. Wow. I always thought that was me getting rabbit holed, but really that's just a content marketing strategy.
Yeah, it's the rabbit hole strategy. One day we're going to capitalize on that. But no, I think if you have the dedication to do that and the passion about something to fall into the rabbit hole, that's how you become an authority and a content creator, because you got to be educated on what you're talking about.
Yeah. Wow. Okay, so you've done a lot of education that so this is education that you haven't got paid for, is that correct?
Correct. So when I lay in bed at night and I've got my phone and I've got articles going, because what do you do? I mean, when you're so passionate about something that you can't stop learning or reading about it, but you don't get paid to watch TV either. So if you threw a documentary on instead of, you know, whatever's on Netflix, I don't really watch a lot of TV, so I don't know. You learn a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, I love that.
Maybe I'm just a weed nerd.
Yeah. Okay, so what excites you most about this current opportunity?
So elaborate when we talk about current opportunity. Right here, right now?
Yeah, in the cannabis industry, you're more focusing on the marketing. What excites you, I guess, it could be immediate right now. It could be something that you see for coming, right? Like for me, I foresee like the THC full legalization, you know? And so like that really excites me. I believe that is more, that is a medicine, just a CBD, but even, I don't know, I believe it's maybe more, right? Like for me, because that's helped me impact it when I didn't think it would. And so the fact that some people say it's all for getting high, like, man, like hang out with me and talk to a day and think that I just walk around getting high. Like I get pumped up.
I know,
like,
isn't that so funny? Every now and then I'll mention that I work in this industry, and I think they imagine that I just sit there with a bong all day.
I'm not gonna lie, I do sit here with a bong all day though.
Right, but like while typing.
Yeah, while typing. Like I'll do Facebook Live though.
I'm always typing something. I'm not sure why, but I'm like the cat meme.
Yeah.
So what excites me most? I think it's that people who have been hiding in the shadows as long as they have finally get their moment in the sun. I think that is so important to me. I think part of it is also that people who have been hiding in order to get healthcare are going to have that research finally. I have a friend who her daughter has a series of medical conditions, and it's so locked in that she's terrified to try any holistic method or any change to the routine because of loss of life. They're very, very scared about that because there's no studies. But if we had studies, we wouldn't have to use that child as a lab rat. And I think that is something all of us may not see that we're contributing to when we continue to boost the economy through our hemp sales. That is what we're doing. Wow. And that is, I couldn't imagine anything more exciting in my entire life. But also bringing people who had bad stigmas about it or just didn't know about it into our community and growing.
Yeah. Like a weed.
Yeah, growing like a weed. I like it.
Oh, that's good.
Your new slogan. Grow your business like a weed.
Grow your business like a weed.
I'll market that.
That's so good. You asked for a slogan, you got it. Like
right, one that I can pronounce.
Yeah, totally. Like you want to grow your business like a weed. Like a little joke. Like that's so good. Oh, that's so good. Okay, so if you had to start all over again, if you lost everything today, like literally everything that you have, assets and everything, what would you do differently compared to what you did compared to when you started?
Not a damn thing.
Okay, that's cool.
Not a damn thing.
And can you walk us through what you did then?
Yes, I would love to. But the truth is, I could never be where I'm at today if I hadn't taken the journey and the wild ride that I did. Wow. You know, all of those failures, all of the roadblocks, all of the things that we had to take the hard way to overcome are why I'm able to give value to clients, why I'm able to share those experiences. If it was easy to get here, I would not have the passion that I have, and I would not have, having that drive and being hungry, there's nothing in the world like it. And when you're hungry and you have a mountain to climb, there's really nothing like that in the world. That is an ecstasy you just can't quite explain.
Yeah.
So I couldn't do anything different. But if I have any advice on building this network or being successful in the industry, it's to go screw up a ton. Find a mentor early for sure, but go screw up a lot.
Yeah.
It's the only way to learn. Or maybe I just like beating my head against a wall. I'm not sure. But I think making mistakes is how you find answers. And I think you can speak on this as much as I can. We're in an industry where there are no rules, so to speak. All of the marketing rules that were set fast for other industries have been created and have been built over a number of years. We're the first people doing what we're doing, which means we get to set the bar, which means just because no one's done it before doesn't mean it's a bad idea. You have to go find out if it's a dumb idea.
Yeah.
It may be the next $1 billion move, maybe just another rabbit hole. But being able to create, I think, is so important.
Wow. Being able to create is so important. I think that's just such an amazing thing is like, that's kind of why I wanted, out of all the people, I wanted to interview you today for this reason, is because it's like, you are in this industry in something that people are so scared to create outside of their little pot smoke like circle. You know what I mean? Like they have so much fun passing the bong and blazing it up with their friends and family, and it helps them and they enjoy it, and it helps them as medicine, but they're so scared outside of that little bubble to create anything. And you've
or
done
to say it out loud.
Or to say it out loud, like to say, hey, this is helping me, guys. Like, I know it might sound crazy, but this is helping me. Like, that's amazing. And you're standing up for everybody. And I think that is something, it's like, you know, I was in the military. It's like one of those things that it's like, no, thank you for your service.
I love that. That makes my heart so happy. And, you know, not yourself, and I think every person in your group that's starting their journey in the hemp industry, it's each and every one of us. Each and every one of us deserves that, because it's hard to stand up, and it's hard to, there's mudslinging, not as much anymore because we've kind of gotten to a more mainstream phase because of the people that walked before us and many of us who have been fighting this fight. But I think back to like my parents' generation versus ours, and how different it is in the workspace that you can chat about things like that. It's amazing. We are very blessed to be in the position we are in the time period we are.
Totally. Especially because I enjoy it, you know, like it's like I get to be in something I enjoy. And so
I'm shocked every morning that I wake up. Every day I wake up, I'm just like, are we doing this? Like we get to do this? We're doing it today, right? It's like I didn't do it yesterday. Every day I have to pinch myself because how did this happen? This is beautiful.
Yeah. So what has been some of the biggest challenges you've had to overcome to get where you are right now?
Ooh, all of it? No.
Yeah.
One of the hardest things that we all face is merchant services. And that's why I think these network marketing opportunities that we're watching arise, especially like HempWorks, are so absolutely beautiful, because we're able to take a pay-to-play game and combine and pool the money so that we can play with the big boys in these industries. Yeah. And I love it, because watching merchant services is hard. Oof. Restricted markets are hard. Yeah. There is a big stigma, but personally, I haven't seen too much of a problem there, because I feel that if you sit down and you talk from an open-hearted place of education, not that you're right and I'm wrong, we're both right in our own mindset, we live in our own framework, but actually being able to open your mind, you will be shocked when you come with a humble attitude, how many people will walk away with at least respect for your argument. They may not agree with you, but they'll have respect for your point of view. Yeah. And watching that respect come has been an obstacle to overcome. Even, for example, my own grandparents, they're raised with that real Southern mentality. The dopers are bad, this, that, and the other. And when I was telling them we were going to get matching wedding tattoos and we were going to put a pot leaf through it, it's the greatest thing ever.
Aw, yay.
They use CBD to get off medicines that have, oh my good, I can't even explain to you the list of them, but you guys, my grandpa is 87 years old and picking up furniture and helping us move. And he was 10 minutes from a knee replacement. Now he still runs.
Yeah. Aw, that's amazing.
Which I could never do. I'm against that personally.
I'm against running. Like I'm all for cannabis, but I'm not for that running.
I feel like you should all be healthy, but I'm just gonna sit on the couch. No. As long as we don't have to run for leisure, I'm good. Like, as long as we don't have to call it leisure, I'm okay. But yeah, so when they see the medicinal side of things, as well as the recreational side, and the uses and the help that it brings to the table, it's absolutely amazing. You can watch even the worst skeptics come back to life. So that's been a challenge and a beautiful one.
Wow. Okay, so let me say that again. How old is your grandparents?
He's 85.
85, and now he's accepting cannabis in his life?
Yeah, it's been a while. A few
That's
years.
Amazing. That's
yeah,
so
cool. A few years. And you know what's funny is all that we had available at the time when we first started this, maybe 5 years ago, was a vape. So he was just vaping CBD oil. And now obviously there's topicals, there's edibles, there's everything under the sun available. Yeah. But yeah, he would walk around with his little vape, and he was so quick to accept it. When you're in pain or you have something bam, hit you like a ton of bricks, you're willing to accept a lot.
Yeah. Wow.
And when you compare it to the alternative, I mean, there's really no other choice.
Yeah, like it's like you could listen to the Zoloft side effects, and it's like a 15-minute thing that just like it's like, wait, how? I don't understand how, like as a marketer, I don't understand how that sells by telling people all the things that's going to happen to them. I don't understand that in my mind, because like maybe that's, you know, I seen you should help me make this. I've seen like a recreation, but we should do it better, and it should just be all the side effects of CBD, you know. And it should be like laugh and giggle and do all these things, you know, like, and it should just be like, we should be totally straight faced with it, you know, like totally like, you know, like these are the things you may encounter, you know, sudden bursts of inspiration, motivation, you know, like
I'm about that
giggles and fits, you know, and pain free in your back, you know.
I'm about that life.
Spontaneous
content creator.
Yeah. So, oh wait, I just ordered some bath bombs, CBD bath bombs.
I love those.
And me and my wife are gonna make a movie title for it, and it's gonna be called CBD. What is it called? CBD Gone Wild.
Ooh, wild.
Yeah, and so literally it's gonna be a video, but it's just gonna be a cover. We're not really gonna make the video, but it's gonna be a really funny cover.
Oh, you know what? I'm so glad you brought that up. So we were talking about doing CBD bath bombs as our wedding favors.
Yeah.
I think bath bombs, and I was really excited to see that Hempworks came out with them. But I think bath bombs are so brilliant because it's an easy way to ease people into the industry. It's not topical. It's not edible. It's just something you're putting in the water. You could choose to step in or not step into it. And it's a great way to see that, like, you're not going to burn and die. Or.
So you're telling me CBD bath bombs are the gateway drug?
Yeah.
Oh, that is the best. Any marketer out there needs to hear that. That is the lead magnet from here on out. Right. That is so cool.
That needs to be your loss leader.
Yeah, that's your loss leader.
100% loss leader right there. Yeah, no, we're totally going to do it. And we have our matching tattoos that say for worse. So we were thinking about doing the branding for worse and having those sitting there, which isn't ironic because the bath bombs will make you feel better.
You know, I'm not sure if you've gotten your wedding invites made yet, but my wife's a really amazing like designer. And so maybe I don't want to extend my invite, but maybe she could design it. She'd probably comment below this later. She could design your guys' wedding invitation, because that'd be so freaking cool. Like,
tell her to comment below. We'll chat.
Yay, because that'd be so cool.
We're connected on Facebook.
How cool would it be to be a part of that? You know, like that'd be so fun.
Oh yeah, and that's what I love about this industry. And you know, we've learned a lot in doing our wedding, because just like you're doing the collaboration, just like when you were doing your live event, this industry is different than any other industry because we're all really going through hell together in a lot of the marketing. So we all have a bond. It's just an unspoken bond for everyone in the cannabis industry that's unlike any other. And like I said, I think Sonia Gomez said it best when she called it the brotherhood and the sisterhood. It's just an unspoken, beautiful bond. And I'm so blessed to be a part of it.
Yeah. It's like we all smoke together and share together. It's like, no, be nice to my friend. Like, I'm going to help my friend. Like, they're my brothers and sisters. Like, they're my, you know, like, that's awesome. These are the people I choose to hang out with. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. It's crazy, too. You know, there's only so many live events a year, but as we start to figure things out, because all of us are figuring things out, we're all on the phone with each other so often. I forget who said it recently, but somebody I was talking to said it recently, that we may hang out more than people in person. Like local friends, I see all of you more than I see my friends that live down the street.
Yeah.
So true. Between live events and Zoom calls, we all hang out more than people in our neighborhood.
Yeah, like this is a Facebook Live. I mean, we're almost about an hour, you know. So like I like doing my classes about an hour, you know, and so we're almost about an hour. And so literally like, but think about how many of your friends and family do you spend an hour with on a regular basis?
Right.
Right. Like this is once a week in HMU that we have these classes, that we provide value, that we bring on experts like you that have put themselves out so boldly. Right. And I say that so humbly, even some people might look at me as bold, like,
I agree with that. You really put yourself out there.
No, you don't even know. Like I see, like it's just like, right, like I rip CBD, or I have CBD coffee to put, like, hey, I gotta be able to do this. I like what you said earlier, is like you said you had to climb a mountain, but you also were hungry, right? And so it's like, it sounds like your back has been against the wall, like in the
Oh
past.
yeah, every step of the way.
And it's like, I every time I get in this, I do this business like my life depends on it, and I'm trying to get better at it, because it's like, man, if I really want it to be where I get to spend my entire day hanging out with people that like are like you, that like are some of the other guests that are people that are in this group, if I get to have that as my life, man, that's like, why I want to create that. So
Right.
I need to work as hard as I possibly can for that moment.
And when you get the mindset that there's no tomorrow, or that there's no alternative, it changes how you handle everything. So for each one of you in the group who's just starting your brand and nervous about content creation, nervous what people are going to think of you, nervous about doing that first Facebook Live, because I know it is scary. However, I will say this: what happens if you don't?
Oh, wow.
Where do you go if you don't do that? Do you want to be the person who says, I almost had a cannabis brand, I tried that, but it just didn't work out for me? Or do you want to be the person that says, yeah, that first live was horrible, you guys want to check it out, it only got 5 views, when you're talking to your 500 viewers that you have 6 months later or a year later? Do you want to be at home working on your side hustle and quitting your day job? Or do you want this to be your almost or your maybe? That's when you get hungry and you start climbing full speed. And I think all of us have a huge why. So just having that why right in front of you all day, every day. For me, it's not just designing a nice life. I mean, I could have done that in any marketing industry, or having the freedom to take care of my family. It's not any of that. It's how many lives will be affected if all of us don't get up and climb that mountain every day. Who's going to have their mom laying on the floor puking because we didn't have something that could help suppress that sickness? Who's the next kid that's going to go to foster care because of opiate addicted parents? And we can play a part in fixing that, and we don't. That's why I get out of bed.
Wow.
And
Wow.
I think that's true for all of us, right?
It's so crazy. And like, it's deep, because it expands my why, because when you said that, it's like, I don't realize that other people have been affected that way outside of my bubble. You know what I mean?
Totally. And it's crazy because we all have our own stories with it. And we all have our own whys, and all of our whys are so important and so impactful. So yeah, for everybody that's worried about becoming a content creation and throwing themselves out there, just grab onto your why full speed and jump in. Because if you don't, it'll never happen. It's all on you.
That's amazing.
And I think they're in great hands with great mentorship. So I think that's really important, because that would be my biggest piece of advice going into this, is find mentorship early and latch on. Listen, if they've done it and they've been through it, take that advice and run with it 100%.
Wow.
And then make it your own.
That's beautiful. So what's been what's been the most difficult thing that you've done, but yet also the most worth it, like in this so far in your journey?
What's crazy? It's actually the time constraint. I know that sounds super funny and it may not be the most exciting one, but it really has been for me to watch how my life has changed as I've really worked in the growth of this agency. But not just that, like we were chatting about before, the constant research, the constant value, the constant time in passion projects and things of that nature, donating time and adversity and adventure to different like foundations that we're a part of, or the time that we spend with the Inflammatory Breast Cancer Society fighting for the Tatas. We went to Senate with them last year. So that's a lot of time that you don't spend doing other things. So the time constraint has definitely been the hardest thing. It's hard because it's asking a lot of my family too. Adam definitely does a lot more cooking and cleaning.
Yes, Adam, the hero. Dude,
Serious.
I do the dishes,
My whole
bro.
business would fall apart if he wasn't on his game.
I'm gonna start doing the dishes more. Like, Adam, you inspire me. Like
He's floating around here somewhere.
that's so
But
cool.
yeah, no, yeah, learning to systematize things at home. I mean, the kids are godsends. If they know we're on a call or we're doing something, they're the first ones to shut the door or, you know, sneak in and give me the marker for my whiteboard. So it's been kind of a constraint on all of us, but like you said, worth it. God, I've watched these children become so socially evolved and aware and so brilliant and bright throughout this journey and educated. It's been so fun. And obviously it's provided a lot of freedom for our family to do what we want to do with our time.
Wow, you know, that was another question that I didn't expect. You said you have kids in this. I would love to know how old, and also like how have you seen them kind of grow up with you in this industry, right? It's not like some people don't, like, you know, my dad's a firefighter, my dad's in the military. My mom sells cannabis. She's the queen of cannabis. Like my mom is known for selling weed. I don't understand. She doesn't sell it at her house, but online, you know. So how does they react to something like this? You know, like I have kids
I've
also.
been waiting my whole life for that answer to come up at parent-teacher conference or
Yes.
I've been dying for that to come up.
You know how many parents would raise their hand and be like, let me get their number.
Right? Yeah, we've been really lucky in that. So we have a blended family, and that makes it even more fun because we're all collaborating on it. Our oldest is 11, and he is one of the most socially evolved, brilliant kids I've ever met in my entire life. So blessed. And then Avery is 8 and Mackenzie's 6. So they're not quite at the age where they know what cannabis is or any of the legal connotations with it. They're not exposed to any stigmas or anything. So their minds are so pure. So they know I do marketing and they know I work with holistic health and things like that, but they don't really understand what THC or CBD or any of it is. They understand CBD is like a cream that you put on, but I don't think they know that it's any different than the cortisone in our medicine cabinet. We have not had that conversation because we haven't had to.
Wow.
They're so tiny, they wouldn't understand it at all, either way. But what is funny is we are getting to the point with digital marketing and, you know, just content out online that other parents will ask, so what's your relationship to the cannabis industry? And you know, that's something I have written down for this call totally was that would be an obstacle I had to overcome. Yeah. You cannot ask the world to change their mindset if you can't even change yours. Yeah. If you sit there and hide in the shadows, oh, well, I do marketing, instead of saying, I own a cannabis marketing firm, I'm an advocate for both medical and recreational cannabis. How nice to meet you. If you can't say that with pride, if you can't say that with honesty and integrity, you're not going to change anyone's mind. Because if you're embarrassed about it, that's going to give them the same stigma. Yeah. That's not doing any justice to the industry. You have got to stand up with pride and really be in charge of your own framework, or question if you're in the right place at this right time in your life. It's not easy, but if you can explain your stance, I think it's totally good. And for me, like I said, I was so nervous about it on the parenting side because I was worried that other parents may not think I was responsible or may have some sort of stigma, you know, especially being really young and working full time, that there would be a stigma. But on the contrary, they hear how educated I am. They get educated on the subject. It's kind of a fun thing to talk about. And like I was talking about on Sonia and James' podcast the other day, it's funny how people then come to you with their other holistic health questions because they know you're very well versed on the subject. And you just turn that from a stigma to a resource. Yeah. That's in your heart and your mind and how you're going to deliver your sentence.
Wow. That's so beautiful.
Like, now, what about you? I want to know about your littles because they're a little bit older.
Oh yeah, you know, so so my oldest is 9, you know, and so they're a little younger, and then I have you know, 9, 8, and 4. He just turned 4. So I guess for me, they kind of see it as like, hey, that's dad's medicine. I mean, they're curious, you know, because like they see it, like literally like it's a daily part of our life, right? Like they're in the car when we pull up to the dispensary, right? They're like, why are we just came here like 4 times this week. Why are we going again? Like, I don't understand. Like, I don't like, and so like for them, it's a real thing. And I think that, and then they see like, I don't know, like they see their grandparents do it, and they see their, like are their parents, their great grandparents, and so it's like kind of like, I think they're surrounded, like Vegas has gotten to such culture where it's like a daily thing. Like people come over to the house, they smoke, they hang out. Like that's just the vibe. Like so it's interesting. I think of it. When I was a kid, my mom always shooed me out of the room. And the thing is I think as a child, I took that as like, man, maybe my mom doesn't want to hang out with me. And like, I don't care. I obviously know they smoke. I always see you guys. Like I don't mind it. I don't mind being around it. I just want to be around you.
Right.
So as a parent, I had to get over the stigmatism that, hey, you're right. This is a medicine for dad. You guys see how sometimes like, I don't know, sometimes it helps me. You see how sometimes we're on a long car trip and I get outside and I smoke, and then all of a sudden I get back in and we listen to music. We get happy. Like I'm not the cranky guy that just tells you guys, stop talking. Right. I'm not stressed out. Sometimes it's for mentality. And then they tell me like, Dad, you shouldn't rely on it. And I was like, you're right. And so I study and I read books and I develop myself. And guess what? Like this helps me get in the mode to do that too. So I don't understand. It's like, it helps.
100%. And so for me, I think especially being from California, but also being very in tune with the medical side of things, we never smoke around the kids, and it's because of the actual smoke. So if we're going to partake in any way, I definitely go for something more like an edible, especially with a CBD. On the CBD side of things, tinctures, edibles, things of that nature, just to kind of be more conscious of, I can do what I want with my lungs because I'm an adult, but with little lungs, I feel like they have to get to a point where they can make that choice, and I don't want to pollute the air for them. But that's just me, and being, like I said, in tune with more of the health side of things. Yeah. But where we live, cigarettes are very, very prominent still. The side of phasing that out hasn't happened yet, and they can't justify the difference, right? Because they're tiny. So we just leave all of the smoke out of our house and out of our zone, and that's just our personal preference. We think it's hypocritical to say, we don't like cigarettes, but this can happen. We just figure, let's just have a smoke-free environment when the kids are around in any way, shape, or form.
That makes sense. Like my kids, I have an outdoor office, so like sometimes like I try to vent it as much as I can, right? Like I hang outside because it's like I do like to smoke as I work,
Right,
and
right.
I'll always have an outdoor office, or at least one that I could maybe take off the ceiling soon. Yes. Like I don't hotbox them around, but it's also kind of cool is like, that's why I really enjoy CBD, right? Like, is because my children, they now have something that it's not taking children's Tylenol. They're able to take CBD. They're not going to get a high effect from it, and like I could give it to them when they have growing pains or a headache, or they're not feeling good, or they're trying to sleep, and they take that, and they understand that it's without the high effect, they understand that to that level, because it's like, before I could educate anyone online, my children sit there and watch me from the glass window, and they stare at me all day sometimes because they want my phone to play Roblox or video games, right? And so I realized that I influence them more than I influence anybody else.
I could not agree with that more. And I think as parents, we totally model our lives because we have little people watching us. Yeah. And it's totally the same way with content creation. It's who you really want to be and how you want to present yourself and actually exist that way. Yeah. But yeah, I'm in totally the same boat. And I love that there are so many different ways to consume, and you can choose to go high THC, high CBD, low THC, no THC, no CBN, whatever you want to do. There's a way to do it. Edible, smoke, vape, any way you want to roll, you can do that.
Like patches, you can stick them on your face. Like you got anything. How do you want it?
What you were saying about children's Tylenol. I recently read through a couple different of the bottles that we've had sitting in our drawer, we try to just not use any of it. We have them for emergency because we're human, and
Yeah,
when someone's
absolutely.
at 3 a.m., you do what you got to do.
Yeah.
But there's so much stuff in there. I mean, there's enough alcohol in, I think it was Tylenol. I could just give them like half a shot of vodka and it would almost be the equivalent. I'm like, I would never pour her a shot of vodka. So why am I pouring a shot glass? That's what it comes in of that.
Yeah.
Like, never mind, I'm out.
Yeah.
Some hot tea and honey or something. I can't remember the Tylenol or if it was the cough syrup, but I remember looking at the alcohol content and then looking at alcohol content on a liquor bottle and going, maybe we're in a bad boat.
Dang.
Maybe we just don't. And again, it's all preference and all parenting. They're all going to come out okay in the end.
Yeah, totally. Like I had a really ups and downs, hard drugs in my life as a kid, but guess what? Like I'm now better as a person growing up, and I realize, hey, like there's a line I divide. I'm super all for this plant that grows out of the ground. I'm totally for it. Certain things, yeah, sure. Like I'm not for, right? That's not me. That's
right. Don't do those.
I'm not trying to do all that. Guess what? Like this thing I see has helped me. I see it, you know, and like it helps me even when I'm around my kids. It helps me when I'm around my wife. It helps me, you know. And so I'm gonna shout it at the top of my lungs, and you inspire me.
And I love it. You know, our endocannabinoid system, when it has a deficiency, causes problems in our bodies. So when people say we're dependent on it or you can grow a dependency on it, you actually are dependent on it from the moment you're conceived. You know that breast milk has a very similar component to CBD in it from the word go. So you're getting that from the word go. And your endocannabinoid system, it's built in. It came with your body when you got it. So it's not that you're building up a dependency. It's that you came with that dependency. And we're just figuring out how to fill that, how to be able to get those nutrients that we need into our bodies.
Wow, you know, that's really deep. It's not something I learned, you know, like it's like once you get into this industry, it's like, all right, I'm in now, and now it's like, wow, every day you learn something new. It's pretty amazing.
Fun. I can't stop reading and watching information and just consuming.
Yeah. That is awesome. All right, so here's the last question, and then I will let you go. So thank you so much for your time. What are the next steps for anyone watching you?
Ooh, that is a great question. I think the next steps are figuring out where you're at right now and where you want to be and drawing yourself a roadmap to get there. So I think in any business, no matter where you're at, it is, of course, becoming a content creator, becoming that person and that authority, and figuring out how you're going to get to that point. Now, tell me a little bit about your audience so I can give a really good answer and not so generic.
You know, I would say, all right, so my audience, these guys, this is who right? Like when we talk about like who our audience is, right? I understand that there might be outside of my ideal client of who I want to talk to. There are people that don't fit that mold, but who I envision and who I see in this group is a father that is the sole provider of his family and wants to like thrive in the cannabis industry, just wants to figure out how to get started, right? Like sometimes he knows he'll be successful in anything he does because that's the type of person he is, right? So, but how does he get started? How does one get started in the cannabis industry?
So find your niche, find out where you're going. Yeah. Obviously, if you're going into this completely raw, I think one of the greatest things, and I say this all the time, is to jump into a network marketing offer because you don't need to manufacture it. You don't need to brand it. You don't need to go through the formulations. You don't need to get banking taken care of. All of that is built. You don't have to worry about credit card processing. It's all pre-done for you. So that's $100,000 or minus.
Yeah.
It is. I mean, I do launches all day. I know exactly what it costs.
Yeah.
So that is a very important step. Doing your homework, finding a mentor. Those are the most important first steps. And I would do something like that before I put $1 down. So that's a great place to start. And from there, figuring out what your why is and how you're going to bring traffic to that publicly. Now, if you're a business owner in the CBD industry or you have your own product in the hemp side, whatever it is, it again is finding a mentor and then finding out how you're going to attract your character. Figure out who your avatar is and start doing the work. It's hard work, but draw out that customer avatar, figure out their pain points, figure out where they're hanging out, get them down to their socks. And that way, when you write your content, whether you're doing it organically or you're using traffic sources or sales funnels, whatever you're using, you're going to be able to speak directly to your customer as if just the way we are talking right now. It's going to hit it right on the head every time.
That is amazing. Man, that is awesome. All right, quick question. Everyone that's watching this, are they able to, if I put a link below this video, can they reach out to you on maybe your personal Facebook and ask any follow-up questions, perhaps, you know, on any HMU students?
My personal Facebook and my public Facebook are both Molly Rose, so super easy, and you can get myself and my team on either one.
Yay!
Thank
Awesome.
you so much for having me on. Thank you, everybody. I can't see the comments, but I am sending lots of love to all of you. Thank you for watching and staying with us for what, an hour and a half.
Yeah, an hour. Yeah, that's pretty awesome.
And it's been amazing. I hope I'm back soon.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Molly. Thank you so much for being on, and you keep being bold because you inspire a lot of us. So
Thank you. You too.
You're awesome. Bye.
Bye.